It might feel like everything is falling apart for the Twin Flame Collective right now, but there is a breakthrough here that both of the twins have been waiting for. The Divine Masculine got the Tower out today, and so this is telling me all of those old beliefs, that toxic loyalty, that emotional numbness, it is crumbling. None of it can survive with Mars at 29 degrees in Cancer moving into Leo. All of this is being brought into the light. So if the masculine has built a foundation that was not stable or solid, spirit is all done waiting, and this tower is coming in with brute force. Meanwhile, the Divine Feminine has the Hierophant card. This is the feminine standing strong in her Hierophant energy, grounded in her truth, guided by faith, and rising as that spiritual anchor. And so no longer chasing, Divine Feminine. You are remembering you are here to be rooted in that sacred soil right now, in the present moment. And together we have the moon reversed for the counterparts. And so this is revealing everything that has been buried. The fears, the projections, the illusions. This is a collective soul awakening. And I want to say nobody is getting out of this transit unchanged, maybe even unhinged. But what I want to say is these illusions, they are falling away. And what is going to remain, the only thing that will remain is truth, because both of the counterparts are going through a sacred activation. And so if you've been too scared to say something out loud, get ready to face those fears. Are you ready for today's message? Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about these Twin Flame Collective themes, because we currently have Mars in Cancer sitting at 29 degrees. This is a potent anaretic degree in astrology. We have to keep in mind Mars went retrograde in Leo at 6 degrees 11 last fall. It backed into Cancer, and we've been in the thick of this dark night of the soul energy connected to the Divine Masculine Collective and recalibrating our own inner masculinity. And so this is the culmination point, I want to say, of this emotional cycle reaching completion. All of these energies boiling to the surface, I want to say, is connected to the mother wound, family lineage wounds, and all of these deep-seated inner child woundings that is triggered, I want to say triggered a major breakthrough around abandonment and attachment wounds. There's a lot of inner child healing, I want to say, reaching that breaking or that breakthrough point. And the Divine Masculine's relationship to his mother has affected his inner feminine energies. And the Divine Feminine's urge, I want to say, 111 on the timer, to protect, release, and withdrawal from any overgiving has really been a deep soul process over the last several months. And so let's talk about the significance of these energies, because Mars is at that 29 degrees as I'm recording this. Mars isn't going to move into Leo until Friday the 18th in my local area. And so the energies over the coming days are going to be triggering. It's going to be intense. And I do believe this is the moment in time where the Divine Masculine chooses to rise in that emotional maturity. But I do think there's going to be triggers around a home situation, a family situation, and emotional safety themes are coming to the forefront connected to the Divine Masculine, where I feel he's likely feeling emotionally overwhelmed. There could be a lot of reactive energies. I feel like it's this energy, I want to say, of the masculine being cornered or backed into a corner, being forced to face these childhood wounds, especially related to his mother or a mother figure, stemming around abandonment and likely emotional neglect, which is why a lot of these Divine Masculines fall into that pattern of being emotionally avoidant, a dismissive, avoidant pattern in relationships. And so emotionally, I do feel the masculine collective is at that breaking point, and this is going to look like sudden withdrawal and a desire to isolate from those karmic soul contracts. And this could even lead to what I want to say is a defensive explosion. They showed me a volcano exploding. But underneath all of this very defensive energy, Mars and Cancer can be very defensive, there is this inner child crying inside for that safety and that self-protection. And so this is really activating the next level healing for those on the divine masculine healing path. And so this is a moment of choosing, though. We all have free will. The divine masculine has to choose to act from the heart and not from the ego. He's got to choose to stop running from emotional vulnerability, and he's got to take responsibility for his healing. And so there are a lot of karmic family patterns closing out, and I do believe most of the divine masculines are going to be pushed to stand up against those family or societal expectations, and this might require them to leave a toxic home dynamic or even assert themselves emotionally for maybe even the very first time. Divine feminine, this is where you are releasing that mother archetype connected to the divine masculine, and you're releasing the need to overfunction, I want to say, because a lot of the feminines go into this caretaker fatigue or this burnout, and that's what's been coming up for me lately. A lot of sacred anger and rage connected to the burnout of having to take care of everything, the home, the finances, the children, the business, and to do this all on my own. And so you might also feel this desire over the coming days to retreat in your own Cancer shell. So look to the house of Cancer. For me, it is in my 5th house. And so if you have been overgiving or parenting your masculine or trying to heal him, take a step back. Please, divine feminine, because you too are breaking generational cycles, releasing guilt or that savior complex, I want to say, or that martyrdom programming rooted in the feminine lines of your ancestry. And so sacred rage activation. I cleared a lot of sacred rage, and that anger rose years ago on the journey, but I still feel the next layer of that sacred rage rising within me for the lack of support from the counterpart. And so it's not really aggression, I want to say, that's rising for the feminine, but it's that voice once again of your inner child reclaiming your boundaries, reclaiming your power, and choosing sovereignty over any codependent nurturing. Because when we go into needing to save the masculine or heal the masculine, we create that codependent bonding, and we are here to be interdependent within relationships. And so there's a lot of womb healing energies for the divine feminine. You might be called to do intuitive womb work or possibly ancestral cord cutting. Work with water, divine feminine, salt baths, get to the water, tears, let those tears flow. That will be especially healing over the coming days, because we are in this karmic cleanse before the fiery energy of Mars. And so there's going to be a massive emotional release within these connections to clear the path for union. Mars at that 29 degrees. This, I want to say, is that last purge, that last push before Mars enters Leo, and it's going to bring fiery confidence. It's going to bring courage. It's going to bring romantic action. But first, we do have to go through taking off all of the emotional armor. And so there's going to be telepathic overload, I feel, with all of the other transits playing out in the astrology. You're going to feel each other's emotions intensely, especially grief, nostalgia, longing, and anger. I've been getting bouts and waves of anger periodically for the last couple of weeks, and this anger isn't really mine. And so I do feel there's going to be sudden dreams that are going to bring forward realizations. There's going to be tears. I don't think we can avoid the tears. There's going to be waves of memory. And this is likely going to hit without warning. And so there's like going to be what I want to say is a major tower moment over the coming days. But this is going to serve the recalibration of these connections. The tower comes to break us free from the false programming, from the false soul contracts. If the connection with your counterpart has been stagnant or blocked or in separation, this is going to trigger that final push. There could be a confrontation, or this could lead to a separation. If you've been going back and forth in the dance with your counterpart, you're going to need that separation to break the patterns. All twins have to go through the separation stage in order for both of the counterparts to do the inner work to break the generational patterns. And so the reunion energy is on the horizon for those that have done the cleansing and the clearing work throughout the years. And as Mars enters into Leo, this is a huge indication, I want to say, of a sacred heart union. There's going to be more open-hearted moves, more open-hearted conversations. There's going to be a new creative alignment, I feel, in the coming days for those that are preparing for that wave of unions, okay? And so I was guided to share some suggestions for some possible rituals over the coming days as Mars is at that 29th degree right now. As I look, it's at 29 degrees 19 specifically right now. Two very karmic numbers coming through. But water release rituals are really going to serve the counterparts. Like I said, cry it out, run a bath, speak out loud to your inner child, and let that emotional energy move through you. Don't repress, don't mask, don't go into addictions to mask the pain. Allow yourself to feel it all and move through the pain body, okay? Write a letter to your counterpart. You don't have to send it. Write a letter to your mother or your past self. Release whatever needs to be said. It doesn't mean you have to deliver that. You can if you feel guided to, but you have to let it out, even if you don't send it to that person, okay? Create some type of ancestral altar or an offering to the women in your ancestral line who carried the pain so you can heal it, right? And so we carry this pain through the womb, and we carry this through generation after generation. You were a seed in your grandmother's womb. And so a lot of these patterns, these transgenerational patterns, can be traced back to the great grandmother. And I've traced that back in my own ancestral lineage, that my great grandmother, my Pepe fought in World War II, and he was actually the stepfather of my grandmother and my great aunt. And so my meme was my great grandmother, and that pattern then trickled down to my grandmother, who raised 4 children by herself after being in a very abusive, toxic relationship where she was cheated on and physically abused. And then that trickled down further, right? And then that pattern has repeated throughout my lineage over and over again, the abuse against women and the abandonment of these children and that father wound, that deep father wound. And so honor the women in your ancestral line over the coming days, because we all carry that pain, and we are the ones activating that pain body to heal this wound, to break these generational patterns. And so we're in this energy of creating a boundary reset. What are you no longer willing to hold on to emotionally for others? That is also an indication of codependencies. When you feel emotionally responsible for other people, you can't hold on to other people's lessons or other people's emotions. You've got to cut that codependency cord. You've got to unhook from that pattern. So let's go further with some cards. Let's see what other messages need to come through. We're going to dig in to each of the energies separately. We'll pull some combined messages for the energy of this connection. So stick around, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and let's get into the messages with the cards today. All right, let's get right into this reading. The oracle deck that I am using today is Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell. I'm also using the Tarot of Dreams deck. So let's get right into it. The card that came out for the Divine Masculine Collective is Dance with Life. And you can see they are kind of walking through a portal here. And I do feel this was activated by that last full moon in Libra. And the card does say, do something to change your energy, Divine Masculine. And so I do feel the Divine Masculine is being spiritually pushed out of this emotional paralysis with the Mars retrograde, right? And so this Mars transition, I do feel, is igniting a call to move. They can't stay still anymore. They're going to have to shift out of whatever current state they're in, especially if it's a state of stagnation, whether it's breaking a false contract, or it could mean initiating conversation or dialogue, or making a big, bold move in their life. The universe is saying they can't sit around anymore. They can't wait. They can't keep avoiding. And they got to start dancing with the discomfort. That is what is going to free them to get them to the next leg of the journey. Divine Feminine. We got the Mirror card for you. And it says, who or what is triggering you, right? And we all know this journey is a sacred mirror activation. And so Divine Feminine, this to me is saying that you are in a deeply reflective space. This card is a confirmation for the Divine Feminine that all of these current triggers are actually sacred teachers. Triggers are not punishment. Triggers are there to show you where you still need to work on something internally, right? Whether it's your counterpart triggering you, or karmic people surrounding you, or even certain family members, okay? Whatever is being mirrored to you is basically the call to see where you still feel perhaps unseen, unworthy, or even trapped in an old role that we talked about with the astrology channeling. And so your job over the coming days with this transit shift is to observe without absorbing. So what triggers are showing up for you, and where are you still entangled emotionally? Ask yourself that. That one's pretty deep for the feminine. We got two cards out for the combined energy of the connection, and I love it because both are kind of showing me I'm gonna say like a cave energy. So the first one out was share your voice. And then we got break the chains. And so come out of the cave. That's that Virgo energy. Come out of the cave. But I do feel there's fear of persecution connected to self-expression. And we do see ancient Egypt there coming through. And so we get break the chains, which is all about the ancestral patterns that I've talked about, healing them and rewriting the future. And so this pair really does feel like both of the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine are being spiritually asked to speak their truth, even if it is going to disrupt the comfort zone of people around you, or even for yourself. There is a need, a deep need to release that ancestral conditioning, especially around silence, loyalty, abandonment, and suppression. And so this is a need, I want to say, to reclaim personal power and the vision of New Earth, to begin writing a future free of these inherited patterns. This scene on this card reminds me of the Lion King, of the Lion King movie, where he comes out of the cave and he shows off the cub. So I just feel there's a major shift here. It really does feel like a major shift. And so this is really indicating a soul realignment moment, not just individually for the twins, but also for the entire bloodline of each of the twins, and the future timeline of love, which is unconditional love, as we transition into 5D Earth timelines. And so I just want to say, on the bottom of the deck, we did get the Council of Light. And so this is all divinely orchestrated, right? And so there are a lot of helpers in the subtle cosmic realms, and there's a lot of ancestral energies backing up the twins as we move through this very intense portal of energy. So the top row is the Divine Masculine, the middle row is the feminine, the bottom row is the combined energy of this connection. And so the Two of Swords is what came out for the masculine. And so This, I want to say, is the root emotion. This is what is surfacing from childhood and family wounding. And so there's a big denial energy. I want to say crumbling, like he can no longer stay in the state of indecision or not wanting to look at this, right? The Two of Swords upright is, I don't want to see it. I know it's there, but I'm not going to look at it. I don't want to see it. And this emotional avoidance, I want to say, is hitting its breaking point. He's going to have to look at it. All of those childhood memories are going to surface. All of the toxic family patterns are going to be crumbling, okay? And so how is he emotionally protecting himself? We get the Four of Wands. I do feel this is an indication that the masculine wants union. He wants to belong. He wants peace. But I do feel he's really struggling, right? He's struggling to protect himself from a karmic feminine energy. We got the Queen of Swords in reversed. And so this could be an overbearing karmic feminine that the masculine is connected to. It could be mother or somebody reflecting that mother energy to the masculine, whose emotional coldness and manipulation is still subconsciously running his inner world or running his subconscious in the background. And so I just feel the Mars energy wants him to make a move, to take action, but he's going to have to confront this karmic feminine energy, whether it's just an inner wounding with a mother, or it is an actual karmic feminine in his physical space. This is going to need to be dealt with before he can take action. The next card out is the Eight of Wands in reversed. And so this is the karmic pattern that is ending. And this is where that emotional avoidance leads to blocked communication, ghosting. That's what's closing with this transit. That's the cycle that's closing with this transit, is the delayed and the blocked communication, the spiritual blockages, the overwhelm with, I want to say, emotional vulnerability. I also feel he's probably receiving an abundance of downloads, but he doesn't quite know how to interpret them or doesn't quite know how to move through them. And the last card out, we did get that Tower, and that's really what I'm feeling coming through significantly in these energies. And so this is the heart awakening. This really is what is trying to emerge from his emotional body. And so this Tower is saying something's got to break. This is coming in. It is connected to Mars energy. It is connected to Pluto, and we do have Pluto in Aquarius. And so there is a false structure collapsing. All of those barriers around the heart is collapsing. The false family structure, the home life, or a karmic partnership, all of this is crumbling with this shift over the coming days. And so I just feel the divine masculine's whole world is kind of being shaken to the core so he can rebuild it on truth, not trauma, I want to say. And so the silence and the stagnation are saying it's no longer safe. It's really not safe. This Tower is coming in, and that's brute, universal force demanding movement on the masculine's end of the connection, okay? Divine feminine, we got that 10 of Pentacles in reversed, and this is your core wound. There is a deep wound of ancestral patterns here that is surfacing, connected to your inner child, whether this is family expectations or generational programming about even success and security. That's all crumbling too. It's kind of like the Tower card in the minor energies when the 10 of Pentacles comes out in reverse. It is actually key 78. It is the final tarot card in the entire tarot deck. And we can build that 10 of Pentacles two ways, through the Devil or through the Lovers. And so all of this is crumbling, right? I know a lot of the feminines have to work through that fear of success or not feeling worthy of that success. And so that is crumbling. And you could even have a false sense of security crumbling over the next few days. And so the overgiving pattern that you are releasing, it is being released with the Ace of Cups. And so you're no longer going to mother others at your own expense. This is telling me that you are having a massive heart awakening of self-love activation, and that you are learning to receive instead of always pour into others, right? And so this is about you filling your own cup first, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you have to put yourself first. And I know many of us have children, and we do put our children first, and I'm not saying don't put your children first, but you are not good to anybody if you do not mother yourself and fill your own cup first, okay? The next card out, we get the Seven of Wands in reverse. This is the sacred rage that you are being asked to channel and express. And so with the realization of where you have mothered people at your own expense, I do feel is going to trigger some sacred rage, and you're going to have to let your guard down. And so all of the emotional defenses, I feel, are being released through a sacred rage that's rising. And this is going to allow a new sense of vulnerability rise as well, okay? The Eight of Swords in reversed is the next card out. I love that it mirrors the Eight of Wands in reversed. And so there's going to be a significant shift, I want to say, this Lionsgate for this 8-8 portal. So everything happening now is preparing us to walk through the Lionsgate portal this summer in Leo season. And so this is the boundary energy for me, for you, Divine Feminine. This is the emotional line that you must draw now. Once again, it's patterns. Patterns, patterns, patterns. And this is breaking free from the mental prisons, the mental patterns, the mental fears, the mental loops that keep you small so you can fully embody that authenticity as a divine feminine energy, okay? The last card out, we got the Hierophant, or in this deck, the Faith card upright. Ruled by Taurus, this is the rebirth for you, Divine Feminine. This is where your energy is stepping in to that post-release. And so you are returning, I want to say, to that sacred trust within yourself and with spirit. And so you see something coming full circle here. And so this is you, I want to say, rising in that spiritual mastery, Divine Feminine, okay? And so overall, this row for me is telling me that the Divine Feminine is healing, is activating, I want to say, new dimensions of love, unconditional love. First with yourself, though, right? And stepping out of those survival patterns into that soul-led trust, even if it means surrendering an attachment to how you think things should look, right? A lot of the sacred rage comes from releasing the thought of how we think our life should have turned out. So let's talk about the combined energies, because I do feel the emotional mirror is this divine pause energy, right? The Seven of Pentacles, the mirror energy, how the twins are mirroring each other. I do feel it's mirroring a pause, right? Basically, this is a card of a seed has been planted. It's not quite time to harvest it just yet. I know if I look back on my journey, I met the counterpart in early spring of 2018. I believe it was actually around February or March. And so I've been on this journey for 7 years. And so there could be a significant 7-year cycle reaching completion. I do feel some Saturnian energy here, but we need to remember Saturn is about structure and discipline and putting in the hard work. First and foremost, being loyal to yourself and the path. And so I do feel this is mirroring that. It's just not quite time to harvest the connection, but trust that the seed has been planted. And yes, it is growing, okay? And so the Tower, what is breaking down in this connection is coming out of the death process, I want to say. With the death reverse, this to me is indicating revival. I want to say what you thought was over, it's not quite over. This to me is saying resurrection, but only if the twins are both reborn can this connection be reborn differently. And so there is a realignment going on here. And what I love is it is mirroring the Four of Wands with the Ace of Cups. And so as the masculine comes into that inner union, right, and the feminine pours into herself, there is a big indication of a revival of these connections, right? And so the water energy, what emotions are being cleared between the twins? We get the separation, right? We get the Two of Cups in reversed. And so there's a lot of deep emotions attached to the separation, right? Because the twins are divine counterparts. They are divine mirrors. They are here to build a legacy together. It is a lifetime commitment. They are the perfect match for one another. And so what is being cleansed through these deep-seated emotions over the coming days is the splitting or the separation. There's also a need, I want to say, to detach from the karmic version of this connection. And so this is all about transforming the dynamic, not losing it, because before the twins awaken, they are both operating out of ancestral karmic patterns that need to be healed, that need to be rewired and rewritten in the neurological pathways before the twins can come back together in that divine union without all of the karmic interference. And so the separation is a part of the journey. You don't lose the connection in the separation. It is transforming the dynamic at large, okay? So the next card out is the Nine of Pentacles upright. This is the passion. This is the divine action that is rising next. This is the fire as Mars moves in to Leo. And so the union cannot bloom until each of the counterpart is fully self-owned and in their sovereignty. And so this has to happen on both sides of the connection, and it is connected to that Virgo energy. And so the South Node in Virgo is triggering a lot of past life energies between the counterparts, especially within that Virgo Pisces axis. So watch where you have that axis in your birth chart. For me, I'm a Pisces rising, Virgo 7th house. I have a Virgo stellium in my 7th house. And so remember, the dragon's head is in Pisces, the tail is in Virgo. There's a heading, and like we have to face the dragon in the Piscean energies and the sweeping up of the karmic debris in the tail energy of the Virgo South Node. And so this really is both of the counterparts becoming fully self-owned, and it is mirroring the eights in reverse. And so I do feel by Lionsgate the twins will be fully prepared for this divine union. The last card out I want to say is today I'm calling it the heart path. And so this is where the connection is headed after Mars enters into Leo. This is truth being illuminated. The moon upright is illusions. It's hidden emotions. And so all of this is being called out. The twins are both being called out, right? The masculine being called out with the tower and the feminine being called out with surrender and faith. And so this is saying no more hiding. No more hiding, no more running. All of the skeletons in the closet are coming out. And this is a huge indication. I want to say this bottom row of soul level detox of all of the illusion, all of the fear, all of the codependencies, all of the karmic trauma that both of the twins have gone through in this connection and individually on their life path. And so both of the counterparts are preparing to fully embody their authentic whole selves before this new timeline of union can fully anchor in. Okay, so let's talk about the bottom of the deck. The 10 of Cups in reversed, the Knight of Cups in reversed, the World reversed. This is that karmic pattern coming back around before the twins can rebuild that foundation together. Real, practical, rooted, and earned, right? And so right now, the idealized version of the union has to be released. The immature emotional expressions of the romantic fantasies need to be released and fall away. And the cycle isn't over yet, okay? The cycle is not over yet. There is still unfinished business here. There is still unfinished healing here, likely around the closure where there was a lack of closure, and there's a need for emotional honesty, right? And so there is going to be a new foundation here. It's going to be ready to be built after all of this clearing takes place, okay? So I just feel the closing message out of all of this today as I sit here and look at all of these cards is the love that you are seeking is already seeking you, right? And the love that you are seeking can't bloom from a foundation built on pain or silence or sacrifice. This reading is saying both of the twins need to speak their truth. There's a need to release patterns here and to choose the heart path that's rooted in freedom, right? Not fantasy, not attachment. Union is not a rescue mission. Union is a resurrection for the counterpart. So let's get a closing message with the Spiritual Journey Oracle deck. Today, let's see what the last message is today for the twins. Empowerment. I love it. So the journey really is about self-empowerment and sovereignty. We do need to take ownership of our life. Trauma affects us all. We all have trauma to a certain amount of a certain degree, I want to say. And trauma isn't an excuse to behave poorly, right? And we all have to do our healing work no matter how that trauma was caused to us. And in order to really empower ourselves, it is about taking ownership. It is about stepping into your highest potential no matter what, right? Any step forward is going to be a huge leap in the right direction for the twins. And on the bottom of the deck, we get practice positivity. This is not about spiritually bypassing, but we do have to be mindful of all of the negative self-talk. And I do believe that is connected to the Virgo energy. And the negative self-talk will lead to limiting behaviors, and it will keep both of the twins stuck and stagnant and energetically depleted. And so this is a journey of deepening that relationship to self. It really is. And only when you master the art of self-love can you have this union with the external counterpart. And that is what I have for a message for the twins today. If you would like to go further with me and book in a twin flame synastry chart, there will be links below to my webpage. If you're not quite ready to book in a reading, I do have a 22-page twin flame ebook guide to help you navigate the stages and the lessons of the twin flame journey like a pro. I will send it to you. Just comment down below twin flame guide, and that might be able to help you work through whatever's been showing up for you lately. If you're not quite ready for the twin flame guide, I do have a free guide that I am offering to help you decode your birth chart. If you're new at reading your birth chart, it can give you some tips about understanding your placements to unlock some insights about what is going on currently with the astrology. So if you'd like the free guide, comment free guide down below. I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time.